Hey everybody, welcome to another video. I hope everybody is doing great. Now, I've done videos like this before. I made a video called What Card Should You Grade? Now, of course, I'm not telling anybody what to do. You can grade whatever cards you want. But the direction I've been going into for a long time is grading nicely centered vintage cards. It's a 1959 Mini Minoso, Ernesto Minoso. Here's a 1958 Bobby Richardson with the yellow letters, so this is a rare variation of the original card. Here's one of Don Zimmer, nicely centered, 1961 Topps. Here's a nice card of the 1963 Pittsburgh Pirates, and this is Willie Stargell's team rookie card. I've had this card for years. Here's a 63 Spawn, beautifully centered. The great Gil Hodges. Gil Hodges was a massive figure in New York sports history. We'll stay with that theme with the Buck Blasters. This is a great card. Just really, really nice. And I love the back, 63. The great Casey Stengel. Centered pretty nicely. Anytime I see a Stengel card, I'll buy it if it's in my price range. Here's a 64 Warren Spahn. This card is really, really sweet, beautifully centered. Here's a 64 Harmon Killebrew, and I may have showed a couple of these cards in another video and said I was going to grade them, and I didn't. I ended up grading, like I'm going to show you guys, I don't know, 40 cards. I'll probably end up grading 20 of them, and more of that has to do with how much money I want to spend at the time than anything else, because these cards to me look beautiful, so I'm not worried about condition. Here's a nice 64 Lou Brock, the great Lou Brock. Great Joe Torre. This card is so sweet. 65 Topps, the great Joe Torre, who, there's a case to be made for him as a player in the Hall of Fame. I just picked this up at a card show for $3, 1965 Pittsburgh Pirates team card. Centered really nicely. I love the old team cards, man. Especially when they got away with the backgrounds and they just put a background like they did 65 and 67. Here's a 65 Brooks Robinson, centered pretty nicely, not perfect. I could probably find another one of these that's better centered, but it's not too bad. I showed this in a video I got recently. I got this card for a few bucks. Orlando Cepeda, the great Joe Torre again, one of my favorites, and nicely centered in the 66 Topps. Here's a beautifully centered 67 Yaz. Beautifully centered 67 Yankees team card. Really, really nice. I love team cards. And 69, I know I showed this guys to you in the past, but that's definitely going to get graded. The great Dick Allen. Here's a nice Frank Robinson. Beautifully centered. And to me, 1969 is baseball card perfection. Here's a great Tommy John, the great Tommy John, who absolutely belongs in the Hall of Fame, without question. Here's the McCovey, and I know I showed that in another video, but that one's going. And now on to 1971. Here's a Don Sutton. Great looking card. What a great set. Here's a 71 Stargell, and I picked these up at a card show recently. These three cards I'm showing you right here. And the 71 Joe Morgan. What a great card. Really centered nice. Love the action shots. The great Ken Singleton, who was a great player and a great broadcaster, and we really miss him in New York as one of the commentators for the New York Yankees broadcasts. Here's a nicely centered Gil Hodges. This card I really feel like is going to get a high grade because it's really clean. Really clean. The great Dick Allen, a 73 Bench, and a 73 Ted Simmons.